If you've ever been arrested in the UK, or indeed have just watched a police crime drama, you'll have seen the officer arresting the suspect say the following: "You do not have to say anything, but it may harm your defence. If you do not mention when questioned something which you later rely on in court, anything you do say may be given in evidence." This is known as the police caution, and it's something that officers are obliged to say to a suspect at the time of their arrest. But what does it actually mean? Well, there's some really key information in there which I think is overlooked. I think a lot of people have heard the police say this, but not actually stood back and understood what it actually means. So I'm just going to break it down into the three parts to help you understand what the police are saying when they administer the police caution. So the first part is you do not have to say anything. Now this is a key principle of criminal law and is enshrined in the European Convention on Human Rights, specifically Article 6, the right to a fair trial. If you are a suspect in a criminal case, you are not obliged to say anything at any time. You have a right to silence. Now, the prosecution in a criminal trial are responsible for bringing and proving the case. So throughout the whole criminal procedure, whether or not it's at the time of arrest, during your interview, or indeed at your trial, you are not obliged to say anything to the police at any time. Now, the right to silence or the right to not answer questions in interview does not excuse you from the consequences of failing to do so. Indeed, under sections 34 and 35 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Acts, if you fail to answer questions in interview under section 34 or maintain a right to silence under section 35, then the court and the jury are entitled to take what is known as an adverse inference against you by your failure to do so, unless there are good reasons for you maintaining that silence or not answering questions in interview. So just to recap, you have an absolute right to silence enshrined in the European Convention on Human Rights, but there can be consequences such as the ability of the jury to draw adverse inferences if you fail to do so. And this is really what the second part of the police caution is getting at when it says, "But it may harm your defence if you fail to mention when questioned something that you later rely on in court." What that is doing is saying that although you have a right to silence, if you fail to answer questions and then subsequently rely on a defence when you get to trial, then an adverse inference could be drawn against you under section 34 of the Criminal Justice and Public Order Act. The final part, anything you do say may be given in evidence, is essentially warning you that if you answer questions in interview, that interview will become part of the prosecution case. So when it comes to trial, what will normally happen is either a summary of the interview will be read out as part of the prosecution case, or if the circumstances merit it, they can read out the transcript of certain parts or all of your tape recorded interview. Now, what they will be doing is using that to look at inconsistencies between what you've said in interview and potentially what you are now saying in court. So if you give an account in interview and give a subsequent account which differs from what you have said in interview, then the prosecution will use that evidence of your police interview against you to undermine your case. So to summarise, in really basic terms, the police caution means that you have a right to silence, but there are consequences of failing to answer questions in interview. And if you do subsequently answer any questions in interview, that evidence can be used against you when you go to court. That's it for this video. Now approaching nearly 700 subscribers on the channel, so thank you to each and every one of you that has subscribed. If you haven't subscribed and you do like my stuff, then please do consider hitting that subscribe button down below. If you did enjoy this video, then please do consider giving it a like. And if you do have any comments about this or any other videos on my channel, then please drop a comment down below. Thanks for watching. Take care.